Welcome to another Demarcation Media action figure review. Today we're going to be looking at one of Figma's Legend of Zelda figures. This is Link from A Link Between Worlds. This is the deluxe version of this figure, so as you can see there's a whole spread of stuff to look at. So before we jump into all that, let's take a quick look at the box. I really like this box design. It's simple, it's to the point, you can see what you're getting, and I really like that. The black part has a bunch of tiny little Triforces. You can see there's a bunch of information here, but a lot of it's in Japanese. And this right here is a sticker that says official licensed Nintendo product. If you're buying this, make sure you can see that sticker. The top shows you a picture of Link's face. The side shows you a picture of Link. The back shows all the different stuff, more Japanese or Chinese or whatever that is. And there's another view of Link on the side. So it's a really nice box. There is one flaw with the packaging that I'll talk about in a little bit, but for now, that's the box. We've got a lot of accessories to look at, so I'm going to be rolling through them pretty quickly. To start off, here is the hook shot. We have two heads for it. You have this one where it's shooting out. Looks very nice. The paintwork is very nice. You pop that off. There's just a hole, and this plugs right in there. So you have it in its retracted configuration. To put it in Link's hand, you have to remove the handle, like so, and then pull the handle into even smaller pieces, which allows for a really nice look when it's in his hand, but these can be a little bit fragile and easy to lose. The paintwork on the body of the hookshot is nice, as is the paint on the handle. So next we have two accessories. We have a pot, like the many you can find around the game and, you know, pick up and smash. It looks pretty nice. The paintwork is really, it's just really well done. And it can also double as Winnie the Pooh's honeypot if you would like. And of course, smashing pots would be useless if there were no reward. So you get a rupee as well, and this little stand, which can also work with one of the other accessories. I'll show you that in a minute. But that can kind of simulate it floating, and then you can put that in there and then smash it, and out comes the rupee. The other accessory that this stand works with is this bomb. Can give it the floating look as well. This is a really useful accessory. The paintwork is super nice. You can see like the fuse even has a little red tip. And it's useful outside of Legend of Zelda. It's just a really nice cartoon bomb. So that's a great inclusion. And yes, the bomb does fit in the pot. Next up is the tornado rod, which consists of two parts. The tornado rod itself and the spinning like leaf blades. The tornado rod comes apart very similar to the hookshot, though this peg is kind of a little too short in my opinion. It's also pretty skinny, so if you were to bend this, you might break it. The top also comes off to put the leaf spinning piece on, peg that in, and plug it on, and that looks amazing. It can spin as well if you want to, but this is designed so well that it looks like it's spinning even when it's stationary. Next we have a baby Mai, which is great because it's basically another character included with Link. And the paintwork again is fantastic here. Look at that little face, so sad. The molding is really nice too. It captures the look of the Mai in-game pretty much perfectly. The only thing I would have liked is if the pink part could detach from the shell and you could put a happy one on there. Other than that, this is another pretty perfect accessory. if you could even call it an accessory. No Link figure would be complete without the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield. Both of these accessories look really, really nice. The Master Sword especially. The blade kind of has a bluish purple sheen, and the printing and the paintwork over the whole thing is really nice, especially on the handle. You can see there's some scratches near the tip, and that is not from the factory. I've actually had this figure for probably almost a year now, and I've used this a lot and done quite a few photos of me sticking this in the dirt and in the gravel, and those few scratches are all that all the damage that it got. So it's also a pretty sturdy, at least paintwork wise. The paint doesn't scratch off too easily. To put it in Link's hand, again, you have to remove the handle, and this is very, very skinny. So, and it also is not just a perfect circle. It's kind of like a flat edge. So you want to make sure to line that up properly, or you might end up breaking it. The Hylian Shield, again, fantastic paintwork. My only complaint is maybe this Triforce could have used a little more gold, but other than that, it looks great. And again, the handle works pretty much the same way you've seen all these other ones work, by removing stuff. This comes off, and then you can see the seam there. I won't go through all of it now. But yeah, that's how it works. And this is, again, this is a must-have for a Link figure. Coming up on the figure itself, we have a, basically this is an alternate version of the figure. This is when Link uses his bracelet and becomes a painting to fit onto the wall. And it is made very much the same way as the tornado rod top, but it is also double-sided. So you can have him going either way. It looks really nice. They also include this little bracket piece that kind of fits on here like this. I'm not a big fan of it because it kind of crinkles and bends his feet. But that's made so that you can attach this to the included Figma display stand. And obviously that's a really ugly configuration, but with some fiddling you can get him looking like he's standing. While we're here, I'll show you what the stand does. It's pretty standard for a display stand, but it's really, really useful. This attachment comes off. You've got the Figma branding on there, even though it's almost invisible. And this also works with a lot of Bandai stuff. Like I have the Bandai Gypsy Avenger that I have fits with this stand, and so does one of my Bandai Star Wars model kits. So this is a fantastic addition, and you can repurpose it for pretty much any figure you want. Alright, so here we go. This is the figure himself, Link, the hero of Hyrule. Before we get to the figure, you also get this little Figma display stand with an extra wrist joint in there, just in case you break one, which is very nice. You get a bunch of different hands. You have hands for holding the items, which I believe is exclusive to the deluxe version. You get two fisted hands, one of them is on him, two weapon or tool gripping hands, and two open relaxed hands, which is really nice, gives you some different display options. And then you get an alternate face, actually. So let me show you how that works. You just remove the hair, remove the face, put the other face on, and slot the hair back into position. So that's really simple, and I'm really glad that we get a different facial expression. It adds a lot of life to the figure. Detail-wise, this figure is pretty simple, but then the in-game character is pretty simple. See his face a little bit better now. I really like that expression. The eyes are done really well. They look pretty lifelike. Well, they look like they have life in them. Nobody has eyes that big, but I'm sure you know what I mean. The hat has a nice little band of yellow. You can see it goes around the back, and this is articulated, so you can swing it all around. It's actually on a peg, so if you want, you could just pull it and it would come off. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but you can do that if you want. Go down. There's Ravio's bracelet, which allows Link to turn into the painting. Gold belt buckle. Some nice molding for the cloth textures. And then you get down to the boots, which looks really nice. There, it's on this side. Yeah, you can see the metal pin on the outer side on both of them. It's visible. And when I first got Link, one of them was covered up with paint, but I think it just kind of came off as one little disc. That doesn't bother me too much. There was a little warning in the instructions that said it was hand painted, so you might see some anomalies like that, but it really doesn't stand out in a bad way. So how does Link fare articulation wise? Well, let me show you. For arm articulation, you can get a nice solid T-pose if you want. And the elbows can go all the way out and then all the way in. So you can have him be a chicken if you want. Pretty much every single joint rotates on at least one side. So you have a lot of movement there. You can do a full swivel. In at the elbow, you have a ball joint close to the body. When I said elbow, I meant shoulder. So you can see there's a ball joint real close in there, and then this part up here, which looks kind of like a ball joint, is actually a hinge joint. So you can actually rotate this around so you can hinge forward, and basically if you swivel the joint independent of the body and the arm, you can get some interesting posing options, and it allows for, you know, lots of really nice movement, but it can be a little finicky getting the joint into position. As for the head, you can look up. Not very much, just because the way this hair is molded. But he looks sideways. It's a little inhibited by his hair, and it obviously gets blocked by his hat, but his hat can be moved out of the way, which is nice. And he gets pretty good downward motion as well. The wrists have full swivel, and you know, they can go like that. So basically you can do whatever you want. And Ravio's bracelet can move around freely, which can be annoying, except for the fact that you need it to move so that Link can you know, move his wrist around. There is a waist swivel, which basically, I think if you wanted to, you could probably swivel it all the way around full 360. There is a kind of a little bit of an ab crunch, but not much. It's pretty limited. And sometimes you have to kind of move this part of his tunic out of the way, but it's pretty soft, and that's easy. The lower tunic is soft, but maybe being a little bit softer would have helped with the leg articulation, but it's not bad. You can get, you know, pretty good sitting. And inside, you can see there's like a swivel, and so there's a hinge here, and then below the belt there's also a hinge on his groin area. His knees go back a little more than 90 degrees, so that's nice. The ankles, you know, basically move all over the place, and you can get a little bit of a pointed toe, which is nice. And there's a toe hinge, which is a nice little bonus. So he's really not lacking in articulation at all. The tunic limits his movement a little bit, but really less than I was expecting. now that we're almost to the end of the review, I'm going to have to come out and say I'm really biased for this figure. I've had it, like I said, for about a year now, and I think, as of right now, this guy is my all-time favorite action figure. He has provided a ton of photo options for me with all of his accessories and whatnot, but just the way he looks, he's really photogenic, and his posing is really nice. Excuse me. There's no real grittiness to his joints. They're nice and smooth. They all have good amount of friction. There's really no poses that you can't get other than crouching, and that's just because of the stiffness of his tunic. And his price is really good. I got this guy for $40, and you can find him for as low as $35 sometimes. And that's a really, really good price. This guy is good quality. I put him through quite a few different situations, and he's still holding up, and he's still as good as the day I bought him. So I definitely recommend that you look into this guy. And there are two versions. There's the normal version, which I believe only comes with like the Master Sword, the Hylian Shield, and some extra hands. But I would recommend going with the deluxe version because it's really not that much more. It's like $10 more, and you get a whole lot more bang for your buck. Now, before we wrap up, I just wanted to point out that when you do get it, if you get it, you will not see this or the tornado rod top in the box. It will be hidden behind the backing. So you need to pull everything out, pull the backing out, and then you'll find these. Some people have thought that they weren't included, but they are. So, final verdict, go buy him. This might just be the best figure you ever will buy. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.